Hi everyone and welcome. You're watching Chai with Chaitanya. This is the place where I talk about books, movies and fandom, and today I'm here again because I have been getting insane number of requests talking about how to go about getting ARCs and how do I personally receive so many ARCs. And I think when you are in the bookstagram slash book blogger or anything that has to do with books in community where you're talking about books, I think ARCs, which is a short form for Advanced Reviewers Copy, it becomes part and parcel of our lives. We see other people who are in the business doing it and getting it for quite some time, and we wish that we also get them. So today's video is going to be about ARCs, but I have broken the video down into three parts. At least that is what I've thought so far. So today's video is mostly about the prerequisites or the things that you need to consider before you start or plan to get ARCs. And without these things in check, I don't think any publisher slash author would want to send you any ARC or review copy for that matter. But before we get into this video, I hope you have subscribed to my channel. Subscribing, you let me know that you really are interested in the kind of content that I put out. And I have made various kinds of videos before. I have book reviews, book recommendations. I also have a tutorial to bookstagramming. So be sure to check that out. I would leave all those down in the description box below. Let's go. Before we go ahead and talk about what are the prerequisites for getting an ARC, let's just first understand what is an ARC. Okay, so ARC, as I said, is a short form. It's an acronym for Advanced Reviewers Copy. ARCs are sent in mostly for two reasons as far as I have understood. First, it's sent to book reviewers. Now, you can be on any platform reviewing a particular book on any platform and you can still be considered a book reviewer. So it's sent to a book reviewer for the review purposes, wherein you read the book and you offer an honest opinion on that book. And second, it's sent in for publicity purposes. Now when I say publicity, I mean that you are creating some sort of promotional content. It can be a mood board, it can be a small video, it can be a TikTok video, it can be a reel, it can be a book cover recreation, it can be anything that has to do with you generating some sort of original content which is in line with the book. Okay, now more often than not, you would see in today's times what has happened is that the review and publicity have sort of intermingled. Okay, and most publishers today, this, even though they send out books for reviewing purposes, it's understood and presumed that it's also for publicity purposes. Now, second thing you need to understand is that why would somebody send you a review copy, or for that matter a publicity copy, or even if it's a mix of both, why will they send you a free copy? I know we all love free books. I love free books. I look for places where I can get free books, if that makes sense. But why will they send you free books? That's the first question. So it sort of leads back into the argument that I just told you right now before this, that one, it's for review, and second, it's for publicity. Now this can only happen in two ways. First, if you are a reviewer who has been reviewing for some time, and when I say some time, a lot of people say that, okay, how many days, how many months, how many years. So see, there's no set time to it, and there is no set time frame that I think anybody can give you. But a general rule of thumb is that you should at least be doing what you say, or what you claim to be doing, for some time. Now when I say some time, I think 3 months should be a minimum amount of time you should spend building up your own profile and building up your own page or whatever platform that you're using on. Because if you have not got enough substantial reviews to showcase the publisher or the author that you're approaching for an advanced reviewers copy or a publicity copy or a review copy, then why should they even consider you? Like, nobody would want to give you something just at face value, right? Just because you appear to be a good person, which I'm pretty sure you are, and you're a good reader. So building your profile is very important. I've had so many people who have come up to me and they've asked me how to approach a particular a publishing house while they have only got 200 300 followers and probably just around 6 or 7 reviews on whatever platform that they say that they are on. Now, two problems. One, you haven't spent enough time developing that platform that you say you're going to pitch it in front of the publisher slash author for the review purposes. And second thing, your followers are low. Now I know you can argue that there is something called micro influencers, macro influencers, and people choose to categorize it accordingly. There are publishers, very few, who also send out books to people who have, let's say, 100 followers, 200 followers. As I said, they are very rare. Now, most big publishers, at least the ones that I have worked with, they look for somewhere around 1,000 followers, 1K followers. Okay. Now, again, no, it's not a set out rule that it's said out loud, but it's something which is sort of understood, because if you do not really have 1,000 followers, who are you going to influence? Like, yes, I know there are people who say that even if I'm influencing one person to pick that book up, I am an influencer, and I believe in that. However, you have to understand that a review copy is free for you, but it's still going to cost something to the publisher slash author who has to produce it, right? Like, it's not made up of air, that it's not going to be it's not going to cost them anything. So they have to, at the end of the day, they have to also look it in terms of a very business slash monetary perspective. And in that sense, when they're sending out or prioritizing reviews, they look for a couple of things. One, they look for your reach. Two, they look for the quality of the kind of content that you're putting out. Now, if you're a bookstagrammer, they can look at your engagement, they can look at the photos that you're putting out, the kind of theme that you have, and so on and so forth. If you're just a reviewer putting out blogs, so they can see what kind of other blogs that you've previously written, or what do you usually read, or what are the kind of your reviews. And fourth and finally, what is your reach in terms of how many people can you actually influence, and what is their ultimate goal at the end of it. Okay. So these are the basic general rule of thumbs, guys, that you need to understand, and you need to make sure that it's in place before you start even thinking about ARCs. Like, for example, if I'm being very honest, I have my best friend Vaishnavi, and you can go and speak to her. I remember I had to wait till I hit the 1,000 followers on my bookstagram, and only then I started requesting ARCs or review copies to publishers, or started writing mails to authors. So you have to put in that effort. Okay. And I remember I had almost 60 50 55 60 posts before I hit 1,000 marks. So I consistently made sure that I worked hard and built up my profile, because that is very important. Your work is going to speak for yourself, so at least give your work enough time to grow. Okay. Thing that I would like to talk about is the fact that how many places or platforms you're covering a single book. Okay. So I know for a fact that a lot of reviewers or influencers, they cross post on different social media platforms. And while nobody can tell you again that how many platforms you personally should be covering, because again, it's something that is very personal. Like, for example, I personally enjoyed doing bookstagramming as well as blogging, and I have recently started booktube as well. I think it's been around 6 months now. Okay, it's not a race. Just because you want a particular book which you're seeing right now is available as an ARC, that does not mean that better books will not come along your way. I think with the current time that we live in, there's so many good books that keep coming out one after the another. And let's say you had a particular author that you wanted to pick up, but somehow you did not qualify for that particular ARC right now, you can always approach a new book by the same author next time. Okay. So allow yourself that time to grow at least one platform, and if you can, then please try to diversify. There is no maximum rule, but try to be at least on two. More or less what I had in mind to discuss today in this video, because this is more about what to do and where to do and how to start before you actually get into the whole bandwagon of writing mails or approaching the publisher and this and that and all those fancy things which people do and talk about. The final suggestion that I want you guys to follow is to find your USP. I have seen and come across so many reviewers and so many different kinds of reviews or content on different kinds of platforms where it's so generic. I think, let's say if you're doing a review, try to find your own your own voice. And when I say own voice, like, you have to come up with some sort of strategy which sets you apart from the kind of reviewers that are already there in the market. Like, for example, like, if you were to publish a book, right, and if you were to go and check out if you had to send out ARCs, would you not want to prioritize reviewers who would have very interesting ways of communicating the message of of what they felt or what their opinion was, versus somebody who's just writing very long reviews or very constructive reviews, but it's very generic. So try to find out what works for you, what is your voice personally. Okay. And again, I can't tell you what that is. You will have to figure it out, you'll have to discover it. I did a lot of trial and error method, and then I figured out that what works best for me. The fact that you have already worked these things out, and once you are set with that, then just wait for the next video that I will be putting up very soon, and that would be covering how I go about looking for the new titles or the upcoming titles, and how do I get to know about them, because I know for a fact that a lot of people are also also confused as to how to figure out, and specifically if you live in India, you would know that a lot of international releases that we see on the internet or on the booktube or on bookstagram, we see that these books are coming out, but in the Indian market they don't really hit until 6 months or even a year after the book has officially released in the international sector. So how do you figure that out? How do you go from there, and what do you do? All of that will be covered in the next video. So be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get a notification as soon as I post that video. And I hope this was helpful. If you have any specific question regarding ARCs or how to approach them or whatever, like anything that's regarding ARCs or review copies, feel free to mention it down in the comment section below. So till then, bye.